Welcome to the Old World Fanatics, your Warhammer fantasy podcast to quench your hobby thirst for all things Warhammer, the Old World. I'm one of your hosts, Gommo, and I'm here just today. It's just Andrew and myself. Mate, how you going? I felt like I just talked to you a couple of hours ago, which I probably did, playing Warhall.
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly. We've got Papa Nurgle has visited one of our co-hosts, unfortunately. Josh really did try bake it. We were going to record last night and pushed it back a night to see if he was better, and I think he got worse.
The old plague.
We said, it's fine. You don't need to. It's all good. So, Josh, I think that's his first ever podcast. He hasn't made it on. We've both skipped, I think.
He's here in spirit.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to be rambling today. It might... people are going to laugh at this. I'm going to say it might be a shorter episode, but when does that ever
hobby
happen?
Hobby might be compressed.
Yeah, that's right, hobby, and there's probably no vet section, so it's all good. Yeah, cool, man. I felt like we've I don't know. We were starting to think about going through some rules and stuff with Josh and all this sort of stuff, like different magic laws and stuff. But then obviously he's out, so we thought we'd cover the news and what we've been up to, you and me. We've been playing a couple of games of Warhall, and you're prepping for the Sydney Shirecon, which we chatted to Matt about last week. So I'm trying to help you do that, I guess, by being a punching bag or whatever. But we'll run through that, and that's about it.
A punching bag that punches back. It wasn't much.
So, that should be good, because I thought maybe chat about our experience as well, playing online and how we're finding that, but also throw you on the bus a bit and see, how are the Dwarfs performing with, is there changes? I know we're halfway through a game, which we'll get into, but it'd be good just to sort of have a bit more of a, relaxed chat, not so much segments. We don't really have a main topic apart from a bit of that, really. So, yeah. Cool. Well, before we get on, man, I'll just shout out our usual patron shout out that we've got. It's obviously we podcast every week. We would do it anyway, but we do have a Patreon for those who don't know or first-time listeners of Old World Fanatics. You can see us at patreon.com/oldworldfanatics. We have a growing list of supporters. It's only $2 a month. It just helps us pay for this software and stuff like that. So we give you guys a shout out to the current supporter list. It's getting a bit bigger, but we'll go through, and we have a sneaky one that's always in there that seems to change names that we don't know until we read it out. So we'll find out. So anyway, we got Starkey, King of the North. So thanks, guys. Griff, Jess, Wood Duck, I should say. Sean S, Josh Griffiths, Ninanium, which I can never pronounce. Matt, Daniel Broadstock, Jonathan Wengler, Gilthos Draconis, Cameron Bloom, Elliot Mitchum, Chris Turnbull, Harrison Nuzo, Gilthus is a free and a paid, so he's so awesome. He wants to be on both levels, which is great. One of our best YouTube commentator, thanks Gilthus. Julian, Diesel, Cameron Atkinson, Richard, William Payne, Robert, Sooty Bumspits. It's getting a bit... Now, I don't want to presuppose this, but is the avatar changing as well? I can't see. Now, we're not sharing this, so people can't see it, but I'm wondering, I don't know what that avatar is. You can't even see it, Andrew, either, can you? So you haven't been in there, so it's definitely a surprise for you. But anyway, yes, thanks, Sooty Bums Bits, Andrew McAllister, Bobby Gherkin, Gumwich, Sean Ritchie, Todd Lloyd, and Chapsticks, the OG. So thanks, guys. These guys just help us, as I said, go a little way to helping us run the podcast, so to speak. If you're, you don't need to do any of that at all. But if you are watching us on YouTube, or you didn't know we're on YouTube as well, jump over there just search Old World Fanatics as well, and hit like, subscribe, and the bell button, because it just helps the growth of the channel. So thanks so much for that. Anyway, that's enough crapping on about shout outs and trying to get more followers. What's been happening in the news? It's nothing old worldish, so to speak, but we have had a couple of little AOS stuff, which I think is related to old world. So I thought we want to cover that a bit. And while I'm saying that, I should actually prep the screen, which I should have done earlier. I had something else up. Cool. So the first thing that happened last week, and it's caused a bit of controversy in the AOS. It's funny, isn't it? Because Fantasy Battle's been dead for technically so long, it feels like. So, sorry, I should actually let me not jump ahead. Some of Games Workshop's basically squatting some of the armies in AOS as they're preparing for Age of Sigmar 4. And, we knew this was coming. We've already seen it happen. They were mentioning about stuff pulling, Black Orc units and stuff, and that they're coming back in the old world and all that. So, it's not technically a surprise. It's probably a little surprise that they've squatted, I would technically say, definitely an entire army, and I guess two, really, with the Bone Splitters. Which technically they hadn't done before. They just removed models, is that right, from a faction? And this is the first time they've actually pulled one out? Do you know? Because you played a bit of AOS, didn't you?
Oh, I've played the smallest amount.
Right. Okay.
I've collected them. I don't play a lot.
Yeah.
But
so
my understanding was that,
Yeah. So they're basically, and a crap ton of Stormcast models as well, which I won't even attempt to tell you which ones have come out, and so I have no idea about them. The only thing I'd say is in this picture I'm looking at, the ones on these what are they? Griffiny looking liony things. They look almost new, so it's sort of crazy to see if they're going, wow. But then it tells you how long AOS has been around.
Yeah,
that's
right. They've got so many models.
It's like
I think it's just
Space Marine sort of, play. Same sort of issue. Yeah. Which, and I mean, as an observer on the outside, Stormcast, they're changing the look a little bit, do you think? They're sort of adding a bit more personality a little bit and stuff like that. So maybe some of the older kits are just too boring. I mean, these guys look pretty good, but I don't know. Again, I can't comment. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they had a lot of the guys in the starter sort of sets like that. That's one thing that Age of Sigmar did really good is you could pick up these little $50 boxes and just get two little forces sort of thing. But I think they weren't very strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're the sort of models, these older ones that they're sort of getting rid of. They're not really current in the new meta.
Definitely. Like the old, Oh, you mean like even whole units that they don't even bring the unit? They're not replacing the unit type with a new sculpt. They're actually just removing it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way it's gone down. As such, just the stats don't sort of line up. So it's kind of 40k a bit like they just there's this churn over almost of models and powers and meta. So it's just the way the beast is, I suppose.
I guess. Yeah. But the ones that actually affect us, sort of, is they've pulled the whole beats of chaos and brought them, which is interesting because obviously that was one of them. And I think the writing was on the wall because it's one of the armies that, apart from chaos, is definitely in both. Pretty much model for model in both games, Old World and this. And so it was a bit weird that on one hand you heard stuff like, vampire counts and stuff are all in AOS and not in Old World, but then why Beastmen? So it was obviously the writing was on the wall. Then, and now they're just bringing them, repackaging them all up and then saying to the AOS players, by the way, you can go use your models in Warhammer Old World. And then you get that sort of kickback, and it's funny because they actually came from there. But it just shows you how long AOS has been around and how long fantasy's been dead, that you've got this whole range of people who weren't even around initially.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. Because people are saying, I saw some comments, it was about the Giant, and it was also about, there's a couple of ones where people are like, could I use this in Warhammer the Old World? Would people care? And people are like, that is a Warhammer fantasy figure. So, no, people won't care. It's just funny.
Some young punk.
Yeah. And then Bone Splitters, which, I mean, they're
love them.
Yeah, they're the old Savage Orcs. Now, obviously, we don't have Savage Orcs as such in Orc and Goblin tribes, but we do, obviously, with the mob. You just do it. But I wonder if over time that might change again and they bring them back properly as a separate line item or not. But I mean, obviously for now they're not, and they're just coming back, I'd imagine. I mean, they haven't said they're repackaging them,
Nah.
and they aren't
Yeah.
in any of the the promo pictures in the Arcane Journal. So I wonder what's going to happen if they're gone or not.
Oh, it'd be a shame. I like that aspect of the Savage Orcs. Like, I think they're probably my favorite, as in like the crazy. They're always talking about the Savage Orcs are like the most bestial. Like, you get your normal orcs are sort of a bit, normal. We're also savage. They're just like total animalistic.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if because I mean, do you follow 40k at all too? Not really. Like, have you seen the Beast Snagger Boys that came out in 9th ed, I think? It'd be cool to see, because I mean, I've got obviously I played 8th, so 8th Warhammer Fantasy, so I've got a lot of Savage Orcs because that's pretty much what you have to have. But they're all, I don't know, I don't overly rate the sculpts these days. Maybe it's the paint job on them. They're a bit bright. Yeah. But the Beast Snagger Boys look really good. Do you? Yeah, you like them? Yeah. I think I've just painted too many and looked at them for too long.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some new ones, just like bringing a bit of that Beast Snagger stuff in there, a little bit of the squig, squig sort of, tarp, like, what are they called? The troll hide pants? Well, that's the trolls. Yeah. But, the Beast Snagger Boys are wearing the hides from the squigs and stuff. I think it'd be pretty cool. But yeah, just obviously they're going to bring Beastmen. They're going to repackage that, launch it out as Old World. But I wonder what they'll do here. They'll probably just do it. Maybe it's a wave 3 down the track, and they just bring them out. Because, I mean, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, that's it. You think almost like, because they're producing it currently, it's almost like they'll take it directly off the lot sort of thing. It's not like Bretonians and Tomb Kings, where it's almost like they've had to remake the process of actually producing them. So yeah, you think almost, if anything, that'd be a pretty quick turnaround. But yeah, one thing I was going to mention with these, I don't know if anybody, well, I'm sure they have seen, because everybody these days has Facebook and Marketplace, but there is some bargains getting around. Unfortunately, I've got way too many armies.
You're going to make
no,
buy a Beastman army, aren't you?
No, I've seen some 300 Australian dollars, which is cheap as, and they were like 150 models with the giant guys, like multiple giant guys.
Man.
Like
if you find, maybe we need to talk off the air, and if you ever see that, just get it, because I've never played. I've only played against Beastmen. If there was Beastmen hanging around, I'd probably consider getting one, because it's that army just I don't have, and if we play on battle reports, we haven't done as many as we want to, but it'd be nice
just
to have
go
that
halves
and chaos. Was that painted or unpainted that you saw?
Nah, it's unpainted, but
yeah, that's fine. I mean, Beastmen wouldn't be hard to paint. Yeah, cool.
Bit of fur, bit of blood.
I think that'll disappear quick though, but
cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's all the Stormcast. I won't go too much into the other one. Sorry, I was just having a look though quickly. Like the Bone Splitters, they just say what's going out, but if you go to Beast of Chaos, it says it's coming in Old World. So that's the bit that worries me a little bit. That, I mean, surely they'll repackage them, because people will need Savage Orcs for their orcs. So yeah.
It's funny. Like, scroll up to the Skaven that are going.
Oh yeah,
and some of those sculpts are ancient. Like,
oh god, yeah. I think weren't they the oldest? Weren't they 84s or something like that? Or I don't know what it was, or I can't remember. Someone will correct us in the comments, but I think some of them were the oldest. They were in current, production.
Oh, yeah. Some of them are nuts, like those old school rat ogres. Like, they're, they're old. Like, the Island of Blood one, well, there's only 2 sculpts there, but, I mean, the original sort of old school rat ogres, like, they sort of almost, some of the old Skaven, they're almost dog looking, like not as rat looking, like they kind of had that big snout, and it'd be good to see them go, and hopefully, well, we'll talk about obviously.
Well, we can jump to the. Do you want to jump to the next article? 'Cause there's probably not much more we can drag out of that. So
Yeah.
Move on to it, man. That's fine. Like the new, obviously, we've seen a few of the newer Skaven sculpts now for AOS.
Yeah, they're cool. I'll bring up my closer images.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, just while you're bringing that up, I was just saying, obviously we know AOS and Stormcast are now the launch factions for AOS 4. So they're using it as a time to totally redo the Skaven lineup and right down to, just clan rats and stuff, which is really cool to see. I guess I'll table further. I'll let you talk now, but I will probably, what does it mean for the future of Skaven in Old World, I guess is the question. But yeah, what were you going to say about the look of them?
Oh, just the sculpts. Like I've got 100 odd of these Island of Blood clan rats. I actually thought they were a pretty good sculpt, and they don't fit too, out of the way, just for realism, in that fantasy realism compared to that. You get some of those older sculpts, so it's almost like you put when they've got the size difference, you sort of got the older one and the new one. And there's two things: is size isn't a whole lot different, except for the new ones seem a little bit chunkier and a little bit wider, as in like more dynamic. So like the models, the tail's a bit out there, and like the pose is wider.
Are you looking at that one with the Stormcast and the old Stormcast?
Yeah.
Sorry, is that Clan Rat or Stormworm? And that's a clan.
That's
Clan Rat on the left.
Clan Rat. Yeah, the Island of Blood one. They're really good.
I mean, they're totally. By the look of that, though, the scale creep. If anything, they're actually shorter. But like I said, they're maybe a bit, taking up a bit more room. But when you move them on to 25s, they're going to be used. I would imagine if we see a lot of people using Skaven or not, that's the biggest question. But with that, and even if they're bringing out, because I think we've seen some leaks, but not really good shots of the sort of crazy weapons teams, I'll say, that are coming. And I feel like you'll still see them, because even if it's not the exact, the old school weapon team, it's something newer. I mean, people just proxy it and it'll look bloody awesome. Hopefully these kits are, I don't know, is AOS gone a little bit? It's not so much, it's all a lot of monopose still, isn't it? Especially these ones. These will be push fit ones that are in the box. So they like.
Yeah. Sorry, true. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you only got 10 sculpts, like if I go back up, and sorry for people listening to us and not looking at the YouTube, there's a gallery sort of widget of, it looks to me, it looks like 10 different sculpts, but I might be wrong, of clan rats. But, given that you want a lot of clan rats, and there's no slaves. Oh, hang on, did they get rid of slaves in Old World anyway? We haven't done our Skaven review, but I think they might have. I can't remember.
Did they?
But in any case, you didn't really. I don't know. You're going to need a lot of clan rats. I'm just, be annoying if they only had 10 sculpts. So but hopefully they're fairly. It'd be good to. I mean, they also have a lot of extra options and stuff these days on the AOS sprues and stuff. So hopefully, a lot of kit bashing. Hopefully, cross our fingers.
Yeah,
I mean, they look good, and they look easy to paint with contrast. They'd come out so easy.
Even though you got to paint hundreds of them.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you slop around and it goes over the lines a bit. You don't really care because they're so muted tones and stuff.
Yeah, it's like zombies. You're just like, whatever.
Yeah. What? Just do you have anything else to like? Was there anything around the actual? No, they must have multiple scopes because that's 10, and there's a standard bearer. So, I don't know if you can see if it's that guy somewhere. I don't know.
Is there a bald guy there? The same bald dude with the.
Not really. So maybe it is. Yeah.
No.
Maybe we're looking for a fair few sculpts, which would be good. What do you reckon it meant? Like, So I love seeing this, and then I also get a little worried and a bit confused that, they said the scope of the project's changed, which is good, but I still can't see them anytime soon expecting, say, Skaven to ever be in the old world. Do you know what I mean? Like they're putting all the effort into AOS Skaven. So I would imagine at some point ogres will get redone potentially, and they're going to be in AOS. And so basically what I'm getting at is are we ever going to see them move over? I think there was a rumor that Vamps might be the first one, but who bloody knows?
Well, that's why I didn't know if we're going to bring up in the discussion the Truma, little list of Trumas that was leaked. I might have to try and find that.
Can you find that? Because yes, that came out, and then that would have been perfect news for this episode, and I forgot about it.
Yeah,
there has been news. Where did that come? I sent that to you guys, didn't I?
You did. Yeah, you said it. I'll see if we can dig it up.
Dig it up in our chat. Sorry. Yeah. I find these things, throw it in Messenger, and then I forget to put it in the podcast notes.
It was good, and it seems quite legit. Just everything in there sort of makes sense. And
I can bring it right up here if we want.
Oh, you got it? I was trying to find it.
I don't know if this will actually work. Oh, there it is. Bang. Did that work?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got my big fat sausage fingers trying to scroll through my phone.
This is news, isn't it? I don't know what date it was. Probably a week ago.
Yeah.
So for those don't know, I don't know where it originated from. They're saying the Warhammer Fantasy Discord server. So that's not our Discord. That's not the Warhammer Australia Old World Discord. It's sort of another one that the guys from Herdstone started. So if you guys are after some other podcasts and don't know about that, it's probably the biggest Warhammer Fantasy Discord server, which it's definitely worth getting on that one. But anyway, so this is what was covered. I'll just read it out, especially for listeners. Cathay has a written army list similar to Total War Warhammer's version. Probably not unsurprising. I think we might have heard that before, but that's good to see.
Yeah.
Skaven was specifically cited as unlikely to appear anytime soon for Old World. Perhaps it's karma for my post yesterday. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe he posted the leaks. Skaven, I don't know. The reason is perhaps the focus of Age of Sigmar's 4th edition. So, again, that's what we just said, I guess. Like, this is the thing.
Yep.
There's no way they're going to put it in AOS and then, go, we're also going to they're not going to then package up the old Skaven and re-release them, I don't think, at the moment, because why would they?
Yeah.
No. Who knows? They might do some made for orders or something, I don't know. Beastman's armies of infamy include a Minotaur Horde and a Call of the Wild Army, which uses magic related to the new lore, including the Arcane Journal. Cool. Ooh. Obviously, it feels like Beastmen are coming very soon, which they might even mention this in this one. I'm not sure if it was. So that's cool. Not sure what Minotaur Horde, easy to understand. What's the Call of the Wild Army?
I'm guessing something to do with
is it like the centaurs and all the weird stuff?
Yeah, because they're a bit foresty. I would be almost assuming maybe a bit more skirmishy, ambushy, sort of wood elfy type. Army.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's just my assumption.
Yeah. Empire's armies of infamy include a Nuln Gun army of infamy and a Middenheim army. I mean, that's awesome, I reckon, those two.
That is.
I guess the only thing with Empire was maybe we still see this, there's nothing saying we wouldn't, that it could also be its own release, like not having the two. You know how we've got Orcs and Dwarves coming out very similar?
Yeah.
And we'll get into this maybe here, I can't remember, but people are saying it's Beastmen and Wood Elves, and that might mean that's the next two. And because Beastmen just got cold and they've been talking about it, maybe this is coming sooner rather than later. I don't know. But yeah, the Empire one would be cool because the whole, the scattering of the Empire and the sort of no Emperor. It'd be nice to see almost all the main provinces get sort of their own army. But but Middenheim, I mean, having that in there is going to be cool. Not sure about the Nuln Gun army, but it'd still be fun because maybe there's some variants, they add different war machines or something.
Yeah, it would be nice not to have just a style of a gunline army. Like, hopefully they can bring up some
They had
flavour.
an old one in 6th, didn't they? Wasn't there a back of the book? Was it Null?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, we'll get comments on that one. Various Forge World units include the Skin Wolves, Firma, Gore Bull, BSB. So this has gone back to Chaos stuff, has it? BSB and the Periton will be returning. It was stated specifically that the Chaos Mammoth will not be returning. I'm not a massive Forge World knowledge expert, so I'm not sure. Funny though, they said the Famir. I mean, is that like the old Famir models? Did they actually release some? That's crazy. Or they
I've got a. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I got the Periton. I don't know how you say it. The weird.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to say that one.
You've got that. It's a pretty cool model. Yeah. I actually, when I was trying to go make my orc model in 9th, I was gonna have that as the whatever that beast was that you could summon.
The rock one.
The wild. Nah. It was like a wild beast or something you could.
Right. Yeah.
Summon on.
Oh yeah. In the magic thing. Yeah.
I was like, that'd be an awesome little summoner.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Apparently there is an FAQ plan for the Arcane Journals once all of them have been released. I think that's okay, but I don't think that stops an FAQ coming out soon. I think we've had multiple confirmations it's very soon. And as of, what's the date here, 9th of April, we've also had other people contact us saying that it's within a week or so. So I'm like, hopefully they're right. I mean, that'd be bloody awesome.
It'd be so good. Yeah.
So you heard it here, 10th or 8th, because it's been said everywhere else. So.
Yeah. Did you have there was a page count you heard as well, wasn't there?
Oh, probably.
Was
I can't remember.
Count? It was big, wasn't it? It was like 12 pages or something.
Yeah, something like that. That was another thing I sent you now. I can't remember. My brain has just not been on this week. I don't know what it's doing. But yes, it sounds like it. The good thing is it's going to, hopefully, it covers a lot of the stuff that everyone's having to deal with, especially these TOs having to put out these pre-tournament, FAQs sort of. Finally, this one was given, sorry, on the wrong screen. Finally, this one wasn't given much information to, as it was a bit muddled, but there is a long-term plan for vampire counts to be the first army to be made core from the missing armies, though the way it was described is a faraway concept and you shouldn't expect it soon. So, sort of what we just were talking about before I realised we hadn't covered this. I don't think anything, when they talk about the scope of the thing changed, I feel like that is like, more confidence into maybe second edition. And then we'll see some of these ones maybe coming back. Right now, you're not going to see any change in the next couple of years. We're just going to get probably get all these other Arcane Journals out. And, so that's fine. But it is, I don't know, it's encouraging as well to see that, we might see some of these old ones pop back in. I feel like Josh isn't on the podcast, so I'm going to give, it's not even a spoiler alert, but it was something I wanted to bring up around vampire counts the other day on the podcast, but you hadn't read the book, the novel. Now, you don't read the novels, do you? The Heroes of the Lance that came out for on the launch date.
No. I listened to the audiobook.
You have? Okay. Oh, cool. Well, you're further ahead than me because I'm still reading it. Okay, well, anyone listen to this, there's going to be, it's not even spoiler, I just want to talk about the appearance of certain faction that is in that book. So I don't think that's spoiling anything, is it? It's no, you're shaking your head. So hopefully, but if you don't, maybe skip ahead a few minutes if you really don't want to hear anything. But obviously, there's a bit in there where they get attacked by what appears to be a bunch of vampire stuff, right? Vampire counts, definitely the terror guys. I love how they described the terror guys. Like it was cool. Like, but obviously that book was commissioned, I don't know, but a year or two before Old World came out. So I can't see them doing that and adding them in there. Yeah, they're like, and they even call them like flesh. Like it was almost AOS-y in a way, sort of. As well.
It was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just, you know what I mean? Like it felt like this was done potentially before it got sort of ratcheted back a bit. I don't know
yeah.
what your thoughts are listening to it, but you know, if you read and saw what's coming in, what was eventually released by the Old World for the Old World version 1 or whatever you want to call it, first edition, why would you ever put that in the novel? I just felt it was a bit weird. And
Yeah.
so again, it's another thing that makes me feel like, yeah, okay, you know, this is just a reduced scope, see what happens, and then there's going to still be plans to have all this back. Hopefully, I don't know. Like, again, that's me thinking that. I've got no bloody idea, but
well, I think these factions have never they're not deleted. They're just sort of like saying, oh, they're not in the current timeline. They're not a major faction in the current timeline.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would be silly not to do vampire counts as one of the first armies. Because so many people...
They're so popular as well. And, I mean, the amount of figures... Yeah, I mean, I won't go on too much. This is the last bit we'll talk about AOS. But I know there was some discussions around why they do this and the profit and loss stuff and the business. I just feel like I agree with all that and I see why they do those things. It doesn't bother me. Like, you know, I've run businesses, all cool. At the same time, I feel like, come on, guys, it's not hard to come up with other ways to attribute sales to certain channels and stuff like that, and have parts that go to multiple things. I mean, cars have probably been doing that for bloody years. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. So to hear that as a excuse, I think it's a bit naive. I don't think it's just that either. Like, I can't. I mean, maybe I don't work there. Maybe they are that dumb as well. I don't think so. I think there'd be other reasons as well. But it's not. It is not uncommon to have, you know, bill of material things going to multiple things, and you can work out where they come from. I know it's a bit different because you're internally buying it and building stuff, and this is selling to the public, but I don't know. I still feel like it wouldn't be that hard. You know,
I mean, a skeleton's a skeleton, isn't it? It's like, well, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
anyway, just like if they are that pedantic about, you know, assigning, which they should. I mean, you know, business units internally have to fund their own existence. Pretty common in a business. They're not charities. Yeah, cool. Anyway, that's probably enough news, and more news than I even thought. That's why I'm laughing, the fact that I thought it'd be a short episode. Cool. Do you want to jump onto a little bit of hobby?
I can share my hobby, what I've been doing. It's just basing. Oh, I can't even do that. I've finished.
You're still going.
All the guys
going on those
on bases. Yeah, so they're all half are painted, half undercoated. They're all in the new bases. So I've got to. I was going to flock today, and I got a bit busy, and then I was just like, oh, stuff it. So I didn't get around to it.
Hang on, when's the tournament next? Not this weekend, next weekend.
Yeah. But Iron Drakes are probably the easiest dwarf you're ever going to paint.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Because they don't have a beard, because the beard's covered in a mask, so you can literally get away with 2 or 3 colors. Yeah,
it's just... Do people... Hasn't it got a bit of trim? Like, or not really? It's just... You can just...
Yeah.
But you don't need to do that. You just wash and over the metal and you're done. Dry brush.
Yeah, just metal, bit of trim, wash, and then a little bit of highlight. That's light trim highlight. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not... I mean, that's my... I need to paint these, and I've got... Well, I do have time, but I faff around with my time.
Do you reckon, are you the type that, like, it'll be Thursday night and then next week and you'll be, like, smashing them out? Or, like, do you ever take paint to a tournament? You're done by then?
Nah. I'm definitely, I'll be paying somebody before that. I'll just...
Okay.
I don't like being too rushed, because at the best of times, I'm just not organised. So at least with painting, I just try and make sure that is sorted. That's my one thing.
That's cool. Excuse me, guys. You want to...
How'd you go?
Yeah, so I've done a little bit, not too much. If anything, I cleaned some... My desk was getting a bit crazy there with like 7 different projects on the go, just because my ADHD, I swear I am. But I think that's pretty common in this hobby.
Yeah.
So clean it up a little bit. Like, because obviously I'm still trying to get through the Tomb Kings, but I do get a little bit, just like to try some new stuff. So the other day, when the Orc and Goblin stuff came out, they put that painting Orc and Goblin thing, and they had the heavy metals color scheme thing, and I went, oh, and I like the Mantis Warrior Green contrast paint on my Orcs. I'm going to use that. Like, I've been doing it with my 40k Orcs, and it's easy. It's one coat, and then I do some highlighting with like Ogren camo, like depend on the good ones, or like around their lips or the characters. I'll do more of it, and on the other ones, won't do any. But yeah, the heavy metal painting guy came out for their new skin tones. You know, that article we talked about last week with all the, they're trying to sort of split them up. And I was looking at it going, I've never tried to paint that, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't really care about styles and heavy metal style versus whatever. But in terms of just what they wrote and how they do like the soft shit. Now, this is where I would have loved to have Josh on, because he might know more than us. I don't know, but they talk about like soft shades and deep shades and like the glazes, and it's all with normal paints. It's not with, any of the contrasts or washes. You don't use any of that. So I thought, I'll give it a go. So I went and got I only needed like 2 paints that I didn't have for that sort of orc green flesh. And I tried it on one orc. Now, admittedly, I did it on like a pretty old orc, so probably not the best sculpt either. And I should have taken a picture of it, but I was going to do a YouTube video. I thought, but I'll do one first. It's just fucking dog shit. I'm just like, I'm just so bad at because I would imagine they do so many layers, like to layer up.
Yeah.
And then I looked at video for later on. I went, well, hang on, what's a deep shade? Look, and there's a guy who's an ex-Citadel painter, and he does it on there and stuff, and the amount of you can really see that the first layers they're putting down are the shade, you know what I mean, and then they're layering up to the mid-tones. And I tried, and I just and admittedly it's my first one, so it probably doesn't look too bad. But I'm like, this does not look as good as me just doing a contrast with a couple of highlights. Plus the time taken. So then I just left with, I suck at it, but you always suck the first time. So, and I'm not saying I want to do it to paint an army like that, but I don't know. Now I'm thinking maybe I should talk to some people who know how to do it better and actually try and do it, just for the, just so you're doing something different and getting better at painting.
Yeah.
But it was, I didn't make a video. I was going to, I went, I'm not putting this on the internet. This looks like crap. But I don't know, maybe I should, so people can see that it's, everyone sucks at some point trying to paint up. Yeah, anyway, I'll have to, hopefully some listeners might have some tips on sort of that, manually glazing and shading with normal paints and thinning them down and all that sort of stuff. But so that was a bit of hobby.
Oh, you just get that broad range of, people, the effort they put in. So you get some people who'd spend, hundreds of hours, on their army. And then you get other people, I'm probably not the entire other way, but I'm towards the other end of the scale of just trying to smash it out. So it looks decent on the tabletop, but, just don't pick it up and look too close, because sort of on that scale, it's just it's funny how broad the scale is, and then it just comes down to personality, like you were saying. Like, some people, they just love painting, they love the intricacy, and there's others like me, just get over it and just try and just get it on the board, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I'm definitely like my stuff looks cool, but it's definitely it's built to be in an army, you know what I mean? Some of there's a couple of my Empire pieces and my Orc Wyvern I'm pretty proud of, as saying that, that's a good model. And I'd have it in, I do have them in a display cabinet and all that stuff, but it's not, obviously not. And it's pretty much paint by the numbers as well, my stuff. I follow, I haven't gone too much off the wall a lot of the times, which I probably could get better. Yeah. Actually,
but your armies look good on, I was going to say they look good on the board. I wouldn't say it's like a run-of-the-mill average army. I'd say If there was
No,
a
well, no, and I won one painting thing, and it's like a small Sydney
yeah,
tournament and stuff.
yeah. No,
So I think they look good
good.
together, and I can get them out quite
Mm,
fast doing it. So like, I'm not by any means, I don't think, a bad painter, but you know, it's like everything
no,
with my guitar playing, whatever. You always hit those plateaus and you could do that plateau for fucking years. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but it sort of
It's got to put that extra effort
you got
in.
to get
Yeah,
that extra
yeah,
effort and pain to jump to the next one. And I'm starting to
yeah.
consider, obviously, once I get some of these, I want to get a few old world armies done and out before I worry about this. But at some point, then I thought,
Mm,
okay, well, maybe if I'm being serious and this game's not going away again, maybe I should put a bit more effort in at some point to learn to get to another level. Maybe that's
mm,
airbrushing more, because I use an airbrush for, you know, some stuff, but not really painting, just, I
yeah,
don't know. There's a heap of things. Hey, just quickly on that, just while we're talking hobby, obviously the Golden Demon US one stuff went out. And they had an old world category, so that's crazy, which I'll just quickly skim to. This is going to suck for podcasts, sorry guys. So if you haven't seen the Adepticon
yeah.
Golden Demon winners, just search for on Warhammer, Warcom, they come up. But I just want to bring up the winner. I think it was the winner.
Yeah.
Look at this
Next
fucking
level,
figure. It's a reflection, but it's not a reflection. He's actually
Yeah,
duplicated the figure.
yeah.
Did you see this? Have you seen this before?
No,
Now? You just saw
that
it
is
now
so
too?
good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
only looked at it today. I mean, I think the article came out today or something, but I was like, wow. So if people haven't seen it, like he's basically got two figures super, like, I don't know, how do you say it, Andrew? Like it's like a reflection into a pond, but the reflection is the other figure underneath. The creativity on that is next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
While I'm on it, though, it's pretty funny. I want to bring up the old world category. Where were we? Here it is. Warhammer the old world category. Is that an old world figure? Or is that a Forge World thing? Isn't that AOS? Isn't that a modified
I don't even
AOS
know.
Troggoth?
I'm
And
not sure.
then the silver is definitely a Brett one, so that's all great. But the bronze is an AOS Cities of Sigma figure. I love it.
Yeah.
So it's like just going back to our first point that of course people are using AOS figures for old world. Anyway, I better shut up about that because I keep harping. It's funny, but anyway. Quickly on my other stuff though. Yeah, you and me got some games in which we're going to start talking about in a minute. And we also did the Arcane Journal came out, so I went through some of that. But really the only other hobby I did was I got these resin buildings in from...
Oh, that's wrong.
Where's my share? Stop sharing. Not invite.
Yeah, they were cool.
Yeah, from... somewhere, I can't remember. It was on Etsy, but I can't remember the store or whatever. And like I could get, obviously I've got some Kickstarter stuff coming from Tabletop Empire, not Tabletop Empire, what's it called? Tabletop, what's the second one? Can't remember. The guys who do the really good resin buildings, that Josh has and stuff. They're cool, but I hate asking people to print me stuff a lot. So obviously we keep harassing Josh about that, saying I should just buy him a printer. And he is looking at a new printer. So I'm like, man, just let me pay half or something. And then I don't feel so bad. Even though he says, no, I'll print whatever you want. but just to avoid that, I don't know. I saw them on Etsy and because I'll bring up one picture. So I have ages ago on Etsy, and I'm talking 3 years ago, I bought this cottage that's on the right hand that I finally painted, and Andrew's played I've had it on the board once on one of our battle reports, but this is the only one I had, and I threw out all my old buildings that I made when I was a teenager because they were just falling apart, and so I want to have enough to have a cool little village and stuff. And this guy in Canada was selling one that has 5 different ones, and they're for role playing and stuff because you can take all the lids off. The lids, the roofs and the floors, and they're all interior as well. Whereas the other one that I have isn't. It's just, it's all glued on. But yeah, the cool thing is, I mean, the thing I loved about these two, they literally came like this. The other one I had to it was full flat pack IKEA style, and like you have to pin stuff because I didn't want it to glue and just fall apart. whereas these are all just this is how it came. Pulled it
Yeah.
out, wrapped it in cardboard, and that was it. So I've taken the smallest one and just starting the same contrast base coats, and I'll doing. I mean, this is literally just before the podcast. That's still wet. I'm just going to go through it. That's the smallest, like a little blacksmith one, or I don't know. It's got like a little balcony. It's like a really small building. But I thought I'll try that one first. Once it's done, I'll be able to see how close they look compared to the old one I did. And then the size difference, it's a little smaller, as you can see. You know what I mean? Like that's probably the biggest building that I got. It's like a 3-story one. And you can see my other cottages or building is slightly taller. But it's not too bad. I think playing Warhammer, you wouldn't give a shit.
No, yeah, that looks cool.
And there's the inside, like it's all done inside as well. So, you know, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to paint the inside at the moment.
I was going to say, are you going to paint the inside?
Nah, not at the moment. If I ever, for some reason, you know, want to use them in, I don't know, role like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, if I ever get back to that, or Mordenheim, I'll do that. But so they're a good change from painting, you know, Tombkin skeletons and stuff. And I'm pretty confident that I can smash them out once I just double check how all the same colors go on this type of resin, whatever it is. And if it's all good, then I'll get a couple more done. So then we can have like more of a city battles, you know, which would be cool.
Yes. How much did that set you back?
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, I won't say it was cheap. It was probably, it was Canadian dollars. So it ended up being like 280 or something posted. But that's posted. Like I think $80 was postage. Like it was a couple $100, but you know, they're pretty big. I thought that was still pretty good.
Quality.
I think they're pretty good. So we'll see. And there's so many out there. It's all, I mean, they're all. And then I am getting 2 done from that tabletop. Is it Tabletop Empires? It's not Tabletop Empires, is it? It's Tabletop. God. This is where you need Josh because he knows. Is it Empires? Tabletop World, isn't it? Isn't that what it is? Yeah, Tabletop World. They're the guys they're the really good ones, and they've got a Kickstarter at the moment with some like cottages and stuff. Josh is in that too, so I've got that. Well, it will come once it's done, but it comes with heaps of these little, you know, those Kickstarter extras. So it's got like a little well and people. Like just all these little bits which you could put around or whatever. Especially for that scattered sort of decorative terrain and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's probably Josh had notes about here for his hobbies. I'll let him cover that next week when he's hopefully better. What do you want to... So we've played some Warhall, though. That's the main topic, I guess. It's just you're prepping for Shirecon, and you're definitely taking Dwarves. So you've obviously been playing or putting together some lists. And so we decided to... Oh, God, when was this? A week and a half ago? We tried out Warhall first because we hadn't used it.
Bumbled our way through it.
Yeah, like, and we played. We deliberately did it that we're going to play over at least 2 nights, so we didn't have to like spend 4 hours. Now we ended up spending like probably 2.5 to 3 hours each time anyway, freaking around with some stuff. But over 2 nights of it. But with days between we got through 2 turns and then. Then did days and then finish the game. And we're currently halfway through another one right now. Just the way the schedule works. But I don't know, it's not too bad. What are you thinking of it so far?
I think it's good. So if people haven't tried it, it's actually, you could, and I've heard this from people that use it regularly, you can do it within that 2.5 hour window.
Oh, I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, it's just myself and Gommo, we faff around and check rules and check distances and just sit there and mull on our spells.
Drop my spells on the ground. Fucking where'd that card go? Yeah.
So you can definitely, and we're trying to do that. I think this is a good way to try and speed up our games as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's got a little timer and try and.
Yeah, and that's what we started. I mean, we started doing that in this last game, but I think probably got a bit sidetracked there too. But I think it feels like it potentially is starting to get a bit quicker. But I reckon the next one we would do, we'd get it. I think we start saying like the next game, what we'll do is it's like tournament, like 2.5 hours, and that's all you get. So But I would like to almost try still do 6 turns. So it'd be good to like lock it down and go, hey, you've done your 20-minute turn or whatever.
Yeah, 20-minute turn.
You've lost your turn. But I think sometimes your turn 1s or 2, especially 2 and 3, probably tend to be long, and then the others go a bit quicker as stuff dies. So
same with deployment. People piss fart around for half an hour deployment. You just
that's why in the current list I'm playing against you, and we can probably talk a little bit about it. And I was starting to do this a little bit, but I thought to speed myself up and just learn the game and still play 2,000 points is just to duplicate a lot of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I've got, in my case, and I wanted to try this anyway, I got 2 caskets, for example, or you have 2, you have 2, or in this case, 4 scorpions, or, and 2 or such. So you're really playing with like, effectively a smaller army, but duplicated, so everything's the same. And I think you can, and you're doing that a little bit with your dwarves, 2 units of dwarf warriors, so.
Yeah.
Especially if you're tournamenting, it's just easier, even though it might not be the most optimal. I mean, it probably sometimes is because it's a bit min-maxing. But what do you what's the best things you like about War? Like, I'm liking the integration with new recruits. Cool that you can just pull your army in. I mean, that's
100%.
And the rules, it's pretty good. Like, the rules are fairly clickable through as well, which I didn't even realize it did that. Not all the time. Some of them don't, and then you're like, I've got to go still get the rules from somewhere else. But it'd be cool if they standardize. Like, I mean, I am in the dev channel, so I could probably talk about this, but it'd be interesting to try and standardize between, like, because Old World Builder is cool too, and it's faster I think, to operate. It'd be cool if you could, at least having a conversion layer to pull that in. I guess it probably wouldn't be that hard as a dev to build. Wouldn't be always accurate, but to build like a converter from Old World to JSON format to Battle Scribe, basically, you'd have to do, which is a bit of a shit layout. But anyway, that's tech stuff. But it'd be cool to be able to use both and then sort of pull them into Warhall. Maybe the guy's going to do an importer anyway, because JSON would be easier, which is the format that Old World Builder's using. Maybe the dev for Warhall's already working on it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Don't know. Yeah.
You're losing me with the tech.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
On a smaller note, obviously.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but if you could use both, it'd be awesome. Because Old World Builder's good as well. They're both really good tools, and they've both got their pros and cons. So.
Yeah, and they've only been out, like, I mean, New Root's been out, but in terms of having Old World support, obviously Old World's still new. So there's always these issues where something, especially the validation isn't always 100% accurate, and then also just sometimes the points are a bit wacky, or you can't do a certain thing, like you try to do it, and can't put that thing on. Or I think it was the other day the Orc Chariot disappeared from the Old World Builder, so you couldn't even add the Orc Chariot as an option.
Yeah.
It was probably when they were working on the Arcane Journal. But that's, that's fine. That's what happens.
It's good to have multiple sources as well, because it kind of just, it stops people getting a little bit complacent and lazy. Like it drives that competition to have the better product.
That's totally true. Yeah.
Yeah. So not saying we want... not saying we want this drive, but you kind of do for just keeps people on their toes.
I was like raving about Old World Builder's game view, which is really cool, and then ASB, who like Angus, who's been on the show a bit, he said that New Recruit has that as well, which I didn't even realize. I think I did find it the other day. It's a bit different, but like effectively can do that sort of game mode as well, or whatever, which is pretty cool. Yeah, they're all like sport for choice, because that was one worry. I was worried right at the beginning when Old World came out that Games Workshop were never going to build an army builder like they did with AOS and stuff. And I just refused to do them manually. I'm a tech guy. I want it on the computer or on my phone.
Agreed.
So anyway. Well, do you want to just talking through Warhall and our games, and then moving a little bit onto what you're trying to prep for? I can bring up our first game, and it's not so much a battle report, but for those who... We basically had our first game of Warhall a couple of weeks ago. And I'm on the wrong slide. and I took my Tomb Kings. Now, the Tomb King list on this first game I played was literally the same one that I played. What game was that? Was that against your Dwarves or your Vamps that time? It was the same list.
Yeah,
I think it was, or was it not?
I think it was with my Dwarves. Yeah, because you had the casket.
It was, but I
back.
fixed up the illegal skeleton archer. I had to have a skeleton archer.
Oh, yeah.
I just had skirmishes last time. Yeah, so there was a fixing up thing, but it was basically the, the flying around high priest with the other two mortuary priests. No, just one with the big block of tomb guard with the necrotech, and then obviously the unkillable dragon and some archers, and two scorpions, a necrosphinx and a cask of souls. Yeah, so I basically pulled the same list in that I'd played because I think at the time you went, you want to try this, okay, and so we just jumped on. And that's what I realized how good it was to just pull the army in from new recruits.
Yeah.
Already had the army list in there. What did you take in this one again? Which is a bit different to what you're currently running now, but I guess this is cool. This is one of the first iterations of you trying to prep.
Yeah, so I was just trying out a few different things. Wasn't a big fan of this in the end, but we'll get to that. So I was running the Anvil of Doom as my general. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can take it as your general. I can't see anything that you can't. I was running, and that was stock standard. I was running a Demon Slayer with the rune of Altric the Mad and 2 times rune of Fury. So that was basically, and he didn't have a great weapon. So he was going to get rid of your armor save, and he was going to go against things like knights, and just be able to dish out a lot of attacks without, having a save. I was running another Demon Slayer with the rune of Swiftness. This guy had a great weapon, so hence the rune of Swiftness. He was running a rune of Fire and a rune of Fury. So this guy was trying to be a bit of an anti-monster hunter. We'll see how he goes. I was running
with
2
the
blocks
Demon
of
Slayers
Dwarf Warriors.
is it D6 or D3 against the behemoths? And
D3.
Stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously there's issues with these runes because they kind of can negate one thing or 2 things, but it's like there's almost this. You need 3 or 4 things to be able to get through to kill monsters, and you can't get all of them. So you take what you can get. So yeah, I took 2 blocks of dwarves. They just had great weapons and shields, just so that I could use the shields for shield wall if I wanted, or great weapons if I wanted to charge. Wasn't the best use of dwarves, because drilled is actually pretty cool. I didn't really have any good banners on these guys, so they were sort of dwarf warriors by themselves. If you don't kit them up right, cannot be that great. But yeah, we'll see how they go. I've heard quite a few people running rangers and reckon they're really good, so I thought I'll give them a go. So I ran 10 rangers with great weapon shields, crossbows, 2 units of thunderers with shields, 2 units of 5 thunderers with shields, just little thunderers. I had 3 gyrocopters, all with a clatter gun, and I had 3 units of iron drakes, 8 in size, with the champ with the troll hammer, and we'll see how they all went. So yeah, that's my list.
Yes. So because I guess one downside of so one good thing when you recruit is you get what's it called? I'll just take the logo off. You get the ability to save the game and start it again, and it's fun, isn't it? Like, and again, hopefully people probably need to look at the tutorial. There's a few little quirks with it that I'm like, it's probably right. I just don't know what I'm doing. One of them is when you load the game back up, like you came in fine, but it still doesn't really. It's sort of I've been trying to work out how does it know how to start the game. Like it just once you start rolling a dice, it then sort of goes, oh, who's taking the first turn? But the problem is when you load the game in, you're sort of not at turn one anymore, and
You
it's
lose
auto
all that.
saving
Yeah.
screenshots as well for like deployment, and because it's making a cool battle report, which I really like. And for those on YouTube, you can see the screenshots it's auto taking, which is really cool. And yes, you're right. If you actually play fast and just get it done in an evening, works fine. But for loading it in
Yeah.
after, it gets a bit confused. So hence what happened was I lost the deployment picture for this. A long way to say that. But the solution is, maybe there's another way to get that right, or just play fast and get it done in a day, I guess, like in the same session. But, whatever. It's probably, I don't know, it's probably a bit boring to fully go through details here. But basically, like on my one, I can't even remember what my thinking was. I think I was going to send the Tomb Guard up the middle as much as possible and have my 2 Leech Priests near them to do like rises and stuff like usual, to try and get them up there as much as they can, like bubble that reserve move if I had to and stuff like that. And then I was going to send a flank attack basically with my big monsters. And I have the casket over on the side, and I'm trying to remember what I think at the time. The main thing I wanted the casket for was to try to get, because I had necromancy, to get some leadership debuffs on your like gyrocopters, and then try and shoot it with magic missiles. So I think I ran out of room in the middle, and so I put it over to the side to think by then you'd put a gyrocopter or 2. So I was like, okay, I'll go over there. I think this was the game I realized that, okay, it's annoying with casket that you can only shoot the magic missile or have or have that buff up, but then the 18-inch, what's it called, light of protection or whatever it's called. But that's a fucking good, it's a fucking good buff spell or debuff.
It is.
I mean, -1 to hit, 6 up ward. And that's when I started thinking for the next game, which we can chat about if we want. That's why I thought, what if you bring 2 and have them overlap a bit, which is kind of cool. So that's what I did in this. I sort of had my dragon and Necrosphinx and Scorpion out one side, my archers and stuff just holding the other. It was almost like a bit of a refused flank, if you know what I mean. Like, wasn't doing much on the left, trying to go up the right. And I just pushed on that first turn, and I don't think I killed anything on turn 1. Maybe killed a thunder or something. That was about it. And then you went crazy with your gyrocopters like you do.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly talk through just my deployment. Not going too crazy,
back.
but
Sorry, just don't have a deployment.
yeah.
Oh, I do for you.
So so the big drama with all my units was fitting them in. So because I had 3 units of 8 wide Iron Drakes, I kind of wanted that maximum frontage. Yeah, and then I sort of had these 2 units of Thunder as a 5 wide that they just didn't have a purpose. They were just a waste in this game. And I ended up blocking myself because I had too many units to try and fit in. And so what I've done, this is a bit of a mistake, but basically there was a hill overlooking kind of 1/4 to 1/3 of the battlefield. And what I've kind of been forced to do, just because of poor planning on my behalf, is I've put 1 unit of Iron Drakes at the front of the hill and 1 unit kind of right at the back of the hill. And my idea was going to be to move the Iron Drakes off the front of the hill so that the ones at the back could move onto it, and then they could both shoot. But the problem is, well, we'll see. It was just poor planning, and just poor, just deployment on my half, and just the synergy of the army probably wasn't that great. So basically, I've pretty much put everything in a big line at the front across most of the battlefield, and then I've just put my Rangers. Again, Rangers didn't really have much of a purpose here, but they were sort of away from nearly everything, except for Gommo had a bunch of smaller units that he sort of deployed off to the side.
Are out to the left, which is all your
skirmishes,
right. So the Rangers were sort of taking all them on,
So we'll get into how that goes. And then turn 1, I've done what I've said before. So I sort of moved the guys off the hill and the other guys onto the back of the hill, my iron drakes, so they could both shoot. And then I've just started moving my gyrocopters into a position. The gyrocopters for this game, I was really keen to try and take out your Hierophant. But the problem is fly, and it can be quite hard to shoot him because obviously his next 20 units, so I've got to be able to be closest to him to shoot him.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite resilient for what he is.
Yeah, especially,
so
exactly, because he has the, what was the 5-up save, 5-up ward, 5-up regen? Is that what it is? Heavy armor? Yeah, because he has that warding splint, yeah.
Yeah,
and
so
then
I just
was
sort of
like
moved up
positioning him near
a
the
little bit.
building all the time,
Yeah.
so like he couldn't get a frontal charge or anything on him.
I couldn't. Yeah, you're pretty good with him. And then it was your turn.
Yeah, so I mean, typical Gommo style of not being I don't know. I always think I don't think, I know I'm not that aggressive, and I probably should, but like I didn't move up too much on. Actually, you know what you did do on your first turn though? This troll hammered my fucking dragon and got 4 wounds on him.
Oh, yep, true. I did.
Like that's the scary thing. I was like, oh crap, like this flammable, and then the no regen / the because even though you're re-rolling, you're still wounding me on. Is it? What are you wounding me on? What's your
2s?
2s
Strength 8
with the reroll? Yeah, so it's still 2s with the reroll, so it gets through, and then with the flammable and the drive dusk, like that's when you hit me there. I was like, oh shit, I should have just pushed harder, because there was a good chance I still might not get the charge off. My second turn. Which I was a bit worried about, and I was kicking myself a bit. I couldn't get I think I either didn't get reserve move off, or maybe just I didn't cast. I think I didn't actually. The reserve bubble, I probably didn't cast it high enough. And at the end of the day, all my skirmish dudes were just trying to shoot ranges just to pip some stuff off. But that was about it. And then then I just charged basically that right flank. So the Necrosphinx and my dragon went into your. I think what happened now, correct me if I'm wrong, did I hit the first unit and they ran? Did you run? Or did I hit them? Oh, this is the end of the turn. So yes, I hit your front unit of Iron Drakes, broke them. They fell back in good order, bumped through your other Iron Drakes, and then I overran. In that process, my Necrosphinx has taken 2, probably from stand and shoot, has taken 2 damage as well, but my dragon's still just on 4. So, which is good, but I've got Demon Slayers in both, both sides at the moment, sort of thing.
Both, which in my head, I'm like, it wasn't a bad position for me, because I'm like, I got these Demon Slayers here. So I was kind of, Now
these pictures, again, I won't dwell on the pictures too much because people can't see them anyway, but I think actually what happened, did I try to send the dragon into your warriors first, and you fled, and then I redirected both into the Iron Drakes? So that's what it was, and
I couldn't stand and shoot the dragon, so I had to stand and shoot the... Because when you redirect...
you can't shoot. Yep, that's right. That's what it was. Yeah. Exactly. So, so obviously that was it. The rest of my army just moved up a bit, and I was just trying to kill rangers, but I was only killing like 1 or so. My skeleton horse archers did charge one of your gyros, and they got stuck in there for a few turns, which is kind of funny. But your other turn, then your gyros went after my Hierophant by the look of it.
They just can't get it. Like, he's got the Clattergun's D6, but the problem is you got like multi-shots, and then old mate, he's a skirmisher, isn't he?
Skirmisher.
As well? So
lone character. That's pretty sure. So that's what we played him as.
You end up like hitting on 6s, and then he's a tough nut to try and kill just with that style of attack. Even with doing the bombing run, I mean, you got D6 strength 3. It's just it wasn't enough. You could pip a wound off here and there, and you were just filling it back up.
I can't remember if this was that game, but obviously at some point I got the casket off a couple of times as well at some point, and
Yeah,
which made it harder to hit potentially as well, or at least hit the scorpion. I can't remember, but
yeah.
yeah. But basically, the
You're
two
protecting. It
gyrocopters
was
are down
funny,
in my yeah. Oh, I
but
didn't know what to do
behind.
with the
Yeah,
scorpions. Remember that? I brought one up
yeah.
with the scarab brooch thing, but ended up just trying to keep him back in the casket because I guess I was a bit
Yeah.
worried. Like I'm in this mindset of protect the casket, but really, like it can sort of protect itself with the lighter protection.
Yeah.
And these people are going to yell at me, and I'm just bad generalship here, but I just can't use these scorpions at the moment. I'm just horrendous at it. And maybe it's a bad matchup. You know what I mean? Like I can't. I'm feeling like I want to get my scorpions into your gyrocopters, but I just can't because they're just flying around, and you bring these scorpions on as ambushes or whatever, and they can't charge, so they're just like by the time you get them on, and then they get shot next turn. You know what I mean? Especially against dwarves with Trollhammer torpedoes and stuff. So I'm like, is this just a bad matchup for my scorpions? And you don't have like monsters to killing blow and monster slay, so it's like, it's probably just a bad matchup in that regard for that unit.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%.
What happened with the big combat though in your turn too? Because it looks like there was a bit
Yeah.
of
So I sent in
the Demon Slayer.
Yeah, both Demon Slayers went in. My first Demon Slayer, who was the more infantry / knight get up, so he was basically having more attacks and got through the armor, but he only had his standard hand weapons, so he was only wounding on 4s with a reroll. So that was killing me.
Is that the one on the left that's dead?
Yeah. So he went into the dragon, and he did not fare very well at all. And then my other one went into your Necrosphinx, and I think he did a little bit of damage, but not that much. But he held him up.
Yes.
For
I've done
turn,
one to you, and you did one to me, and then my dragon overran.
The dragon overran.
Yeah.
So I've got one unit of Iron Drakes are running, and one unit because I challenged with the dragon, and you beat me anyway.
Yeah.
So they ran
the overkill. Yes, that's right. And apart from that, nothing much is happening. I don't think.
Nah. I'm trying to shoot with my rangers on my
just wiping out some of my skellies
on the side. Slowly, they're dying, but they're slowly. They're all right. They're all right, but they're expensive sort of things. So they're sort of one of these units. I can't find a purpose for them. I'm sure people out there run them, but it's hard because you move them and then all of a sudden, it's -2 to shoot. To hit when you're shooting. It's just So other than that, I've just sort of like my warriors are sort of moving around to possibly get into combat. One of my unit of warriors is going to possibly get into combat with your dragon, a Necrosphinx, and then your big unit of what are they called? The
Tomb Guard or the
Tomb Guard? Yeah, they're coming straight at me. So my other warriors are trying to maybe. I was hoping I could get you in a flank and pin you down, but I mean, we'll see how that goes.
Just too far away. I mean, I'm moving my guys up, but even not, like, it's halfway through the game and I'm barely at halfway across the board. And that was a bit frustrating. And then the dragon is on 4 wounds, which is probably not too bad for him, but the Necrosphinx has only got 2 wounds left. And, like Hierophant, like you just can't do a rise that far away. And so I was like, at some point I have to fly him over there. But I was trying to move him in a position to do something tricky like that, but I couldn't work it out. I think I gave up with one scorpion trying to hunt down your gyrocopter. He was just moving up as well. And I mean, there wasn't a whole lot. I think my archers were continually trying to shoot rangers missing. Probably more not getting through your armor. You know what I mean? Like 5s to wound and then not getting through your armor. And I was just trying to bring this lone skelly horseman back to try and do a rise on him as well, just to bring him back so he didn't get the points. But I think he eventually succumbs. But nothing much happened in that turn. Like, killed another, that unit of Iron Drakes died, and I went into the ones that had rallied or whatever. But that was
your Necro Sphinx finally
really
took out the other...
Yeah, the dragons, sorry, the other demon
slayers. The Dragon Slayer, that Demon Slayer, yeah.
That's right.
So that's 2 Demon Slayers dead. Couldn't even take out Necro Sphinx, and that was disappointing.
I don't know. This must be the... So then I'm trying to work out exactly what happened here, but it was something like, your guys took out that one horse archer. Your gyrocopter went after my Hierophant, put a wound on him. Probably your Iron Drakes wiped out that Scorpion that had given up and just tried to get into the combats further up the board, like sort of ignored the gyrocopter and went forward, and then he got killed anyway. And then I ended up doing this weird thing. I think what happened was we killed your Iron Drakes that the monsters were in combat with, lost, ran off the board. I chased them with the Necrosphinx, but I did a reform with the dragon, and in my turn then sent them into your warriors that were coming over to me. I think that's what happened.
Yep. That
is, charged sort of down the hill into the warriors. And then this is where it went weird with the pictures. So for those on YouTube, I can't fully remember what happened here, but the dragon did kill your warriors, but they must have ran. But the way I've run off the board the other way, so I just can't fully remember. Did I get the tomb? I must have charged my tomb guard.
Yeah, the tomb guard
flank.
Yeah, because you had drilled.
I must be missing this picture. Yeah, that's what it was.
So you reformed wide, and you went in the flank, and I lost combat, and I did a runner. And then your dragon
ran from the highest unit strength, but my dragon chaser, he went back right off the board as well.
Yep.
And then the overrun from this bigger unit of Tomb Guard ended up hitting your Iron Drakes that were in the forest. That's what happened. Yeah.
Something along those lines.
That. How did I do 2 wounds to your casket there? By the look of, not your casket, your amble. Can't remember. Must have been a magic thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing so.
I think at some point I realised, it is. It's my Hierophant's flown over the top and probably did his magic missile into him.
Oh, okay,
The cool thing with him, and I think I even forgot it for the first turn or two because he was the skirmisher, he's got 360 line. I think initially I was trying to position him in ways to make sure his hexes and stuff could go off front arc. But I would have had that spell, which is really good, the 3d6.
Is that the 3d6?
Strength 2, no armor save.
No armor save.
Yeah, it's an
that
awesome
thing is great.
Spell.
It's so good. Yeah,
and that's the one I should be shooting at your gyrocopters, but obviously I just didn't get the chance as much as I would have wanted. Until you were going after me, and then I think I was able to get another one at some point with that. Tomb Guard. I don't know what, you must have lost given ground, and then I didn't follow up, and then I overran. Sorry, I did overrun, but then I ran into your casket with my Tomb Guard. And, and my Necrosphinx has come back on. My dragon hasn't come. This is your turn, I think. I think your gyro up the top killed the rest of my horse archers, but he was stuck in for ages. Your rangers took out my skirmishing archers. But
I didn't have too much going for me at this stage.
And then both of my finally near the end of the game, my the amble dies to my Tomb Guard, which then overrun and catch these other Iron Drakes, and then my monsters have come on. Looks like the gyro's still trying to. I finally got my Hierophant over near them and tried to heal, but I don't think he did a whole lot. Your gyro's still trying to get him.
I think I was trying to charge over to get him.
I went into the my Necrosphinx, my Hierophant and my Necrosphinx take out that gyro. My dragon takes out your other thunderers, and then that was basically it. I think by turn 6 you had just the unit of
1 unit of warriors,
the rangers, and 1 unit of warriors, and 1 unit of Iron Drakes, and thunderers they were. Sorry,
and a gyro with 1 wound.
Oh yes, that's right. I didn't get
Yeah,
it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and then it was a bit of a I got pretty punished. I don't think I took. I only took like your skirmishing little units off, and maybe what
Oh, and scorpion, 2
one,
scorpions, and
not much.
yeah.
Yeah.
But your next list. So yeah, I mean this one. We'll probably cover the current game another time, I guess. But
Yep.
I mean those bloody Iron Drakes though. They're so good. Those troll hammer torpedoes. You really got to get into them quick to get rid of them.
Yeah.
If you hang around for too long, you're gonna like just yeah. You know, they wipe
Yeah.
off little monsters and stuff. No worries.
Yeah, you gotta. The problem with having them 8 wide or 10 wide is you want the whole frontage there for shooting, but then you end up having this quite a big frontage, which makes them hard to put on the board. Especially if you want multiple units of them. So if you're running 2 or 3 units, you almost need to have these little tiny.
Is that what now? I can't remember the game we're currently playing. Are they 5 or?
Yeah, 5-man units.
Yeah. I think that's just better. I mean, you're lacking a bit of punch for firing if someone goes and charges you, but you're really there for the torpedo. Really, I think most of the time.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I found with the troll hammer torpedo, one good thing to do is you give him the he's got like his little cinder blast bomb or whatever, and that's quick to fire as well. So if you do end up having something charging you,
you can send
your other guys, yeah. So then, as you know, they're not too shabby in combat. So if you do send an ambusher into them, they can kind of take care of themselves to a certain.
Well, they got that. What's it called? Is it stubborn? What do they have? Is it?
Yeah, they got stubborn.
They have? Yeah, so it's just you get stuck on them. Yeah, which is a little annoying. What do you think you're gonna like? I know we're halfway through another game and it's bloody tight. I reckon that one. Like I think we're both sitting there going, "What's going to happen?" We might cover it next week or something. But basically, we've got this. Yeah, the dragon and I brought chariots. There's sort of just in this grind of the table with 3 of your units now. I think it is. But they're inside my double buff of lighter protection from my 2 caskets. So like I'm doing a bit of damage, but you've got way more static res, but then you're not doing much back to me, but you're starting to.
I'm starting to.
And so it's just like, oh, can I kill a unit to break some of like this static?
Because my units are
in next turn
dwindling away slowly. So
that's sort of funny, but I guess the biggest thing, and I know we're still playing this game, but like your anvil is there, and I think you need it. I think it's good, but I noticed you haven't been taking like fairly defensive magic stuff on it. Like, is that just points wise, or you don't think it's like how you got the spell breaking runes, like you're not taking that on it and stuff? Like, is that?
It's kind of one of those things. Like, I don't know. I've had them before, and I don't use them or I waste them.
Right.
The only thing I might look at doing possibly is adding on that rune that does +2 to cast. Because that's going to make it a lot
18,
harder,
isn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
especially when you got magic res. Oh no, so it goes to 36 if you get
30.
11 or more. Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. So
and it's not a remains in play. It's just the next turn. So that means if you get it off, then the next turn they're at -2. Yeah. I think so.
The only
for
problem is
35 points or whatever it is. Or no, it's a master rune, isn't it?
Yeah, master rune of calm, but it's only power level 2. So I mean, to get an 11 plus, you still need to get a 9. So, but you could probably at least get the first level of it. But we'll see how that goes. I've still got some points to play with. And I can shuffle some guys around, but obviously not too much because my list is pretty tight, as you see. Because
I mean, it's the core that's sort of screwing you up a little bit, I feel, because you haven't take these warrior blocks. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or you need them there anyway for your combat res. It's good that bloody rune, the one where you're getting that +3.
Oh yeah.
The extra combat res per banner.
Stromny,
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stromny Redbeard. It's
yeah,
insane. It is so good.
yeah.
Some of that combat res, which we'll get into, was
Mm,
ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
it's just the static combat res. It's just I'm not doing wounds. I'm just static combat res, just
yeah.
ridiculous amount.
Starting to eat me down. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just yeah. I need to It's hard with the like. I know I like this the list that I, and again, it's not the game that we just talked about, but the one that I was just doing where I had the double casket, the dragon, and a block of chariots instead. Because the idea was, yeah, okay, they're not as scary sort of as the Tomb Guard, but they can actually keep up with the. Yeah, because they got reserve
yeah,
move too. They can keep up with the dragon, and you send them in together. And I'll tell you what, the real reason why I did it is the two um, the bubble for lighter protection's 18 inches. So my brain went, okay, well, I can't, even if I deploy on the line, which I probably have to, to get as much bubble as you can get,
yeah,
that's not forcing you to come half, like I still have to get across, especially against dwarves, you
yeah,
have to, but other armies will be coming at you, so that's fine. But I was thinking, well, what's the best way to make use of the 18 inches? And that's to have really big bases. And the best way to do that is to have a
yeah,
dragon and chariot units because they've got massive bases.
yeah. They
So
do.
suddenly, suddenly I can be 24 inches across the board and still be inside that bubble,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is pretty good. And so I think there's
Mm,
something there with that. I mean, I know it's
100%.
135 points, whatever they are each. But this, I don't know, they're also sort of defensive, like, because if the bubble gets up and someone tries to go into them, they're at upwards of -2 to hit just that guy as well
Yeah,
when they're in combat with it, or if they're trying to shoot it,
yeah. I
So
reckon
no, they're
that's
interesting.
yeah. You're onto
Now the
something there.
question is, do they work against a magic heavy army who can probably dispel them a lot easier, where you're struggling, I guess.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's where you might need to prioritize something to maybe try and take out that,
Mm,
you know, unless it's a wizard on a dragon, and then, well, that's a different kettle of fish. But
yeah.
yeah, these are the problems we're going to be facing, and I think everybody will nut it out to a certain degree.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, we'll
No,
see.
no, that's cool. What else do you think? I mean, just to wrap up this main topic stuff is like that. I don't know. We haven't finished the current game, but like what tinkering do you think you'll do for this tournament next week, if any? Is it more just that like magic items and stuff? Like you're not going to be doing massive
Yeah,
unit changes.
nah, I really like the way that the second list is going.
Mm.
I think you could probably agree it's a much better list than the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
list I
yeah,
brought.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely just some tinkering with the. I was thinking of maybe dropping, but I couldn't see the value in it. Like if you drop the oh, can't even think of it. I was going to say the casket, the, the
The
anvil,
anvil. Yeah,
and taking a rune lord, but then you're missing um
the
you're missing
spells.
those
Oh no,
runes, the
yeah, the
spells,
runes.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the runes,
You play him just
and
defensive then.
yeah, and then yeah, it's going to free up 100 points, but I'm like, I don't think I get 100 points of value out of putting a rune lord in because he's one less on his ability to dispel, so he's only level 2 effectively. And then if I want to make him better, then I got to spend more points on him. So it's not
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
He gives
You know what?
the AP, but it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not worth it for me.
No, I like the anvil, and I reckon there's something about having like war machines and an anvil that make people want to try and get them, but then you've got these blocks that are in the middle as well.
Yeah,
And the other cool thing I actually don't mind with that strong, what's it called, the red beard one,
yeah,
is
yeah,
when you line up against, now admittedly you do have a long beard regiment in this new one, but
mm,
then there's two dwarf warrior units. So you sort of think as an opponent, you go, oh, well, I'm not really worried about dwarf warriors. I'll try and take them out. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So you go in there, but you don't realize how much static combat res it can generate. And then obviously, if you get too close, then it's pretty easy for you to eventually get another unit in to help.
yeah,
And that's where it gets real scary. That's obviously what I'm finding. It's hard to break them on one go like that because you also had Well, you flip to shield wall, don't you?
Yeah, so I got the great weapons and the shields. So you just got to like try and work out what you want to do.
Yeah.
Which not 90% of the time is going to be using your shields. It's only if you do get a tasty flank in, you might want to use drilled, reform, and then use your great weapons.
The only thing, like if I was a better player, I'd obviously need more carrion because I actually don't mind these carrion too, to be honest, in a way. But I was thinking,
Yeah, they
because
were.
I keep talking about the current game, which is just funny because we're still playing it. But I went in with the chariots and the dragon into one of those. Like your longbeards are in the middle, and then you got the flanked by the warrior
Yeah,
units. So, and I think you thought I was originally going to go into the longbeards, but I went to the warrior, which then you fled.
yeah,
But I should have, if I was a better player, I would probably think about that ahead of time and go, like, if I had a carrion unit,
mm.
that shitty carrion unit I had, could it have also been ready to, because it could have potentially caught that,
yeah,
that type of sort of setup would have been
yeah.
good.
Because you can't
Because they ended
double
up having to
flee.
redirect. Yeah, you can't double flee. So it would have been a
Yeah,
potential. I'm not saying it would have, but it would have been
could
potentially
have been
a do.
sneaky. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
3 steps ahead, which you got to think in this game. But then, as a
yeah,
result, I had to go into these long beards, which had the whole sorry, you don't get impact hits, you don't get all this other shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, oh, this is going to be a grind, and I didn't bring my chariots are not there for the grind, but luckily the
Nah.
protection spell helps a bit. But yeah,
Oh, helped a lot.
and
Yeah,
I failed because well, like I got confused. I don't know what it was. Remember, I was like, I didn't bring a flying thing for my necromancer, my hierophant, but I've got a spell to do it. And then I'm like, no, I don't. What the hell? I've taken a different law. And I was like, oh. And so as a result, I haven't been able to get into range to get the what's called the plague of rust off on your long beards, because that would have really helped too. But no,
yeah.
it is what it is. So yeah, you need
Oh,
you need your hierophant flying in under. You just need to be able to get that magic around where you need it.
yeah. I'd agree with that. As long as you could keep him safe from all my
Yeah.
shooting.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't mind these carrion that I've been that little unit of carrion too. They didn't do much in the end, but if you had enough of them,
Yeah.
just being able
Uh,
to like get in the way and stop someone getting a flank on you for a turn and stuff, and way more maneuverable than the scorpions. They're not going to do
mm.
anything, but it's undead's just nice to have stuff that moves bloody 20 inches if you need to, or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, they would be handy, 100%. I'd almost say like, but do you need those horse archers as your core allocation?
Yeah, that's what they. But they are
Yeah.
good. I mean, they're just a bit tough against
Yeah.
your dwarf stuff.
Mm.
Probably what I could do a similar thing with them though. They could have been deployed better to do that other charge or to reserve move further up, or I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things.
Anyway, that's probably enough rambling of games. But yeah, that's where I guess next week we can tell the listeners what's happening with the
It's
game
a
that we're
good
currently
game. It's
playing.
a really
It's
good
pretty
game.
funny.
The one we got. It's
Yeah.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. What's coming up though? I thought for those who might be especially you like overseas listeners, Andrew and I are going to try. We'll see how we go. We might try one this week. It might even be tomorrow. Well, actually today by the time you listen to this, so it might not help this week. But we're going to try to do like on our time zone, like a lunchtime hobby hour stream, and then hopefully that's an evening for some of the US patrons and stuff, and
Yeah.
they can jump on and have a chat just for an hour or something. And if people like that, maybe we can try and work out a time every week or every second week and try and do it. That way we get hobby done, but also connect with the guys a bit sort of in real time, which would be cool. So let us know if that's something you're interested in. Outside of that, I don't know, man. Is there anything else you want to cover, or are we all good?
Nah, I reckon we're good.
And look at that. It was still an hour and 35 minutes, even without Josh's hobby hour.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
feels like
pretty
it's been a while. There we go.
Cool. Anyway, thanks for listening to another Old World Fanatics. We're up to episode 35 at the moment, so that's bloody going good. Thanks for that. Love all our listeners. That keeps building, which is really good.
Yeah, thank you.
If you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star review on your podcast software of choice. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe buttons, and click the bell, all that sort of good stuff. And keep an eye out, obviously, for our upcoming YouTube videos, like I just mentioned there. We're Old World Fanatics on all the social networks. So just search for us if you need to get in contact with us, and you can send us a mail as well. Otherwise, thanks for listening to another episode of Old World Fanatics, and thanks Andrew for being around. And I'll probably talk to you tomorrow, and I'll talk to everyone else next week.
Yeah, thanks guys.
See you guys. Bye.
Ciao.